Welcome to CBR Video, episode 11, Toronado, Russian River.
Okay, man. We're not going to be doing many video shows with a more cult beer than this. I've read that this beer, actually I've heard from Vinny himself that this beer could be listed for up to $300 on eBay. Do you want to sell it or do you want to drink it?
I want to drink it.
Yeah, I think we should drink it. This was given to us by Vinny at Savor. Thank you, Vinny. The way this worked was I was recording the two salons upstairs for the first session, and the one I wasn't in was the Vinny and Tommy Arthur from Lost Port and Vinny from Russian River, and they were doing the cult beers of California. And Vinny poured two beers, Beatification, which is their California wild ale, lambic basically, and then the Toronado 20th anniversary beer. So after I was done recording on the other session, the Greg Cook one, went over and I was listening to Vinny and Tommy talk a little bit, and Beatification was open, so I got to taste it. It wasn't my first time, but I got to taste it. But all the bottles he had of Toronado were either empty or corked. So I'm hanging around and Vinny's leaving. I mentioned to him that, too bad no one asked to open the Toronado. I'd love to just get a taste of it. And he was about to crack the cork, and he stopped and paused for a second. He's like, "Here, take this home. Do it on a show." Or he didn't even tell me to do a show. He's like, "Drink this with some friends." I'm like, "Dude, you just earned yourself a video show," because
like I said, with all you, our friends.
We try to do these special beers in video, and not many beers are like this one. 20th anniversary ale for Toronado.
Let's not hype it up before we taste it.
Well, sure. Maybe the beer sucks. It doesn't. But a little history about this beer. Toronado is a beer bar in San Francisco. Most of you have probably heard of it. It's this little place on 8th Street. And basically they take cash only. They have a picture that says cash only with Johnny Cash flipping you off from that magazine ad that he ran.
Hope they have an ATM inside.
The place, if they're busy and they come to you to order a beer, you better order like that. Like, "Greg, what beer do you want?" If you don't answer that quick, he's off to the next person. It's not like
it's like no suit for you, but the beer.
It's a nice route. It's a cool place. Everyone's cool, but they don't cater to people that are not prepared. This beer is 10.4% alcohol by volume. It's a blend of 5 different beers that Vinny made. Some wild, some strong. I was telling Greg before we started recording, it was fascinating that they were able to blend 5 beers and the alcohol is still above 10, because you figure some of the wild beers, the sour beers that Vinny made, lambics aren't that high in alcohol.
Well, you're assuming that
Flanders style.
You're assuming
beers,
that the amount of beer is the same. I mean, I'm sure they.
Oh no, you
adjust
blend
to
them.
make sure.
You blend in a bunch of your 12%, and you blend in a little bit of your 4%.
Right, because I think your sour is going to overwhelm all the flavors. So
I just found it fascinating that they were able to keep the beer as strong and blend in 5 different beers.
Also aged in oak barrels and re-fermented in the bottle.
Oh, Jeff, you likey. Sour in the aroma. First, I was thinking it's a lot like La Folie. It's that Flanders type sourness. You get some sweetness in there. You get some cherries, but you get this sour acid.
Kind of a combination of rose and sour cherry, I think, is the best way to describe the aroma.
Yeah, so like La Folie or Rodenbach. A lot more people can get Rodenbach Grand Cru than they can get La Folie.
This little fly seems like this beer too.
Yeah, there's something else in the beer though. It's not just like La Folie is just sour. This has a little bit.
Well, can't you smell the oak?
Yeah, I can smell. Yeah, definitely I can get the oak and the wood, and there's just a bunch playing in here. I'm trying to put some more words to it. Oh, that smells good. That smells really good. It's an air freshener beer, man.
I don't know if it's an air freshener beer because it's not the kind of thing that you want to have, in your car.
Okay, so it's an oxygen bar beer. You want to go to an oxygen bar and just breathe this for an hour.
I think if your car smelled like this, you'd think there's something
was wrong.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell rotten or rancid. I mean, you just kind of implied that if your car smells that way.
Well, if your car smells sour, I'm guessing that there's something dead in it. Well, that is interesting, isn't it?
All right, thanks for listening, watching Craft Beer Video. See you later.
Wow, it's... If you didn't say it was a blend of beers, I would have been surprised at how much is going on here. The fact that it's blended makes sense because there is a lot going on. There's a deep kind of maltness at the beginning, but then it starts to go sour, and then really builds a sort of sourness in the back of your mouth. And the front gets a little bit sweet.
There's quadruple in this for sure. I think a large portion of the alcohol and the maltiness is a quadruple. I wish I could pause right now and go back and listen to some of the Savor coverage we had. Because I think Vinny brewed a beer based off of Judgment Day from Lost Abbey. I think he brewed a quad that is not that different from Judgment Day. And it may be the base of this beer. I could be completely wrong.
What other... I mean, okay, so you have that. You have either a Bruin or a Lambic.
Well, I know there's a touch of beatification in here.
Okay.
Vinny uses that beer in moderation in a lot of his beers to get the acidity up. So, quadruple, Sonoma, Wild Ale, California Lambic, whatever. Sonombic, that's what Vinny calls it.
Sonombic.
He doesn't, even though like the guy at Cantillon doesn't care if you use the word Lambic, others do, so he calls it Sonombic.
There's a flavor in here reminiscent of an Albrun, and so that's why I'm thinking Albrun a little bit.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if he used a beer that has some pediococcus in here, some bacteria growing in it. Pedio will give you, I think, not as much acidity, but a little sourness, a little bit of funk.
This is a beer
I'm starting to get a little bit of sulfur, sour eggs in the aroma. Get any of that? When we did the sanctification,
just a tad.
When we did the sanctification, which is 100% Brett beer that Vinny makes, Russian River makes.
Yeah,
that one was a lot of sour eggs. So Brettanomyces, definitely have Brett beers in here.
Mm-hmm. Now we've had
it's
4
changed.
beers. We've done 4 video shows today. We haven't had a hoppy beer yet.
Mm-hmm.
Even a beer where you can really identify hops. I may be able to identify a little bit of hoppiness in here, just a bit. There's something on the side that I think is sort of reminiscent of either Cascade maybe or Chinook or something along those lines.
I'd have to say you're full of it. I'm not getting hops. I think the acidity might be fooling you, and I would be surprised if there's a West Coast hop in these beers. But flavor's changed a bit since we first opened it. Some stuff's volatilized out or something, but it is not as cherry, or maybe our tongues have changed, but it's not as cherry and Flandersy as it was when we first opened it. It doesn't come across quite the same way. It comes across more like the old Bruin, the Petrus old Bruin that Greg mentioned.
But once again, thank you, Vinny, very much for sharing this with us, and we are glad we could share it with you guys.
Hope it meant as much for you as it did for us. It didn't, but Toronado 20th anniversary. Holy crap, what a beer.
It's a wild beer.
It's a wild beer.
Catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.
See ya.